Hello, my name is Water Onius. Today, I am here on Montgomery, Alabama, on city. Class 1 on represent how to civil act movement sit, street on women. To vote, you refuse to injustice. Defying segregation like today. We will listen to one those witnesses. Her experience to segregation, elimination, but also resistance. The story is that how thousands of them is here on this sidewalks. His aunt walk the way gather his testimony. On his testimony, just take the moment under the segregation reality. They said to racial segregation on four said to John Dent. Jim Crow, white detect to tight black on white. American must. Women to spirit on almost every aspect. Daily life, school, bus, restaurant, and drink content. His white just about segregation. White to oppressions about keeping African American on position on every tight legal on school by way. Montgomery the city white sun today. A become a battle once for its fight on 1955 was a part on black woman refused to give up on the bus. Got white present haircut of defiant spec movement Scott nation. Montgomery is this boycott. Lies do Martin the taking. What's of majority victor against segregation. But to segregation is not easily resistant for its fight. On fight for civil rights on painful. Takes to protection to legal bats on fourth blood site. Blood civil act of 1964 finality at segregation. Yesterday, legacy lens enquête reality discrimination on racial tension. Women and history, not smoke thing of fight. Shape or present, not listen to smite of life twice. Goodbye.
My name is James Carter. I was born and raised right here in Montgomery, Alabama. This city, these streets, they are part of me. I have walked them as a child, as a young man, and now as an old man with memory that refuse to fade. I've come from a family of hard workers people who never had much but held on to what they had with pride. My father was a carpenter, hands rough from years of hard labor, but he carried himself with dignity. My mother was the backbone of her home, strong in ways that didn't show. They taught me how to be proud, to stand tall, even when the world tried to push me down. I have seen kindness in place I never accepted, and cruelty where they should never have. I have known the weight of silence, the power of a single glance, the difference between being seen and being noticed. I have lived long enough to understand that a man is shaped by much of how was he was under, as by what he overcome. I speak today, not just as a witness, but as a voice for whom they can no longer speak. My story is mine, but it's also the story of many. And if there one thing I have learned, it is that it's not all past that define us, but it does shape us. Hi, sir.
Hi, sir. Can't you tell what your experience here on the street decades ago?
My name is James Carter, and I grew up here in Montgomery. In the 50s, everything was different. I still remember the day Rosa Parks refused to give a seat on that bus. It wasn't just a seat. It was a message, a scream against justice. I was there, seeing those white-only signs, those disdainful look when we entered a store with the separate water fountains. Every day, we were reminded that we were not welcome here. School was segregated, stores served at last, and sometimes not whole. We had to keep our heads down, avoid conflicts, survive in a world that didn't want us.
What Rosa Parks, what arrested on the bus boycott began on the, did you react?
Oh, it was a great moment. For over a year, we walked, no matter the distance. In rain or sunshine, black taxi drivers lowered their fares to help us. Some sympathetic white people gave us ride, but the hardest part was the pressure and the threats.
What did you think on the entire community come together on the shared spirit of on the resistance?
We knew we were taking a big risk, but we held on. We were driven by an idea greater than ourselves. Every step we took was a victory. I remember a long evening of discussion in our community, planning, organizing a roads. There was incredible solidarity, but also constant fear.
You mentioned straight. Can't you tell you more about your real risk on your loved one face on the high time?
Employers threatened to fire us. Homes were attacked. I received warning months. Take the bus or lose your job. But it was a matter of dignity. We couldn't back down. The attack were violent. One day, a friend of mine get beaten because he refused to board a segregated bus. It wasn't just a threat. It was a brutal reality. Some paid with their lives simply for wanting to be treated as equal.
Did you ever boot? What's your earth moment for you on the worth it?
Of course, there was day I wondered if it was worth it. People beaten just for wanting to be treated as human beings. But every time I boarded a bus full of white people and had to stand up, I remember why we are doing this. We couldn't keep living like that.
You attended to speech by Martin Luther King? Okay. What you liked on person? What your impact did you the movement?
I attended speech of Martin Luther King Jr. I saw him speak with so much strength, such conviction. He always said, we have to resist without violence, but with fairness. And that's what we did. I also met other activists, young people, students. Those people risk everything. Dr. King had an irrepressible presence. He gave us hope when fear overwhelmed us. He reminded us that we were on the right side of the history.
Today, you went to look around the Montgomery. Do you say to progress? What to bend made? Do you think the bonne?
We've come a long way, but the road is still long. Laws have changed, but mindset, some takes time. I want to believe all children will have a better future, but we must never forget what we went through. We must keep telling story, keep teaching, so it never happen again. Legal segregation is gone, but deep inequalities remain. The fight continues in other form.
Thank you for your testimony. Before you concluded, do you have to message for listeners?
Never be afraid to stand up against injustice. Every small act counts. Rosa Parks was unknown that day, but her action changed story. So, no matter who you are, where you are, you see injustice, do not stay silent. That's how we move forward.
James Cartels on story writing on every single come to cost your big determination. Can't you chance to quote of history? You have to Montgomery on space tight reshoot on sidewalk and hope to continue to go. This what on what testimony for memory and resistance. Il reste 32%. Oh mon île. Il est long le texte.
T'as un accent marché.
On dirait un lundi. What? Movement. Ok. Plus. Paranus.